Hey, what's up, turtles? Krik here with Black Owl Outdoors. Today I wanted to do a video on a knife that I've had for a little while now, and it is the Kabar Becker Eskabar fixed blade knife. The retail of this is pretty wide. I've seen some places saying it's like high 70s. I think on the Kabar website it's like 83. Nonetheless, that's the retail. The cheapest I found this for, around 50 bucks. I think I paid like 55. But the first thing I want to talk about is the sheath. And this is a hard plastic sheath. It's not Kydex. And I'm going to be quiet. You can try to hear it. That rattle, that play within the sheath. Now it does have actual, you feel a lock. You can hear it. But then again, it has this rattle, which to me is just not acceptable. It's really not acceptable to have a sheath that just has this play in it. Now I know I'm going to talk about this knife a lot. There's going to be a lot of things about price point and all that. But starting off right here, the rattle in this sheath, I know it doesn't happen with every single knife in every sheath specifically, but it's a quality control issue that I personally can do without. I plan to make my own sheath, but nonetheless, here's the sheath, and obviously it has these eyelets, not obviously, but there are these eyelets around here that you can configure this to wear it around your neck because the weight will allow that. Now moving into the knife specs itself, it's made of D2 tool steel, which is a semi-stainless, almost into the stainless, and that I believe has to do with its percentage of chromium within the alloy. I think this is sitting around 10 or 11% of chromium within the alloy. So you're going to have some nice rust resistance, but you still have to take care of it as you would potentially your other high carbon steels. You know, wipe it down, keep it oiled, all that, but you will have a little bit better rust resistance because of its chromium content. Overall length is 7 inches, blade length 3 1/4, a full flat grind, stone wash finish that you're seeing. Thickness of the knife, a little over 4 millimeters. I prefer to give thicknesses, stuff like that, in millimeters because that's what I use when I measure and I'm designing things. It's way more intuitive and easier to understand. A little over 4 millimeters. And the weight is about 2.5 ounces. It does not come with any handle scales. It's skeletonized. And the shape of this knife is sort of Frankenstein's monster, meaning this is the Becker Necker blade, but the Izula handle. Almost. The Izula scales won't fit on this. They need to be a little bit modified and shaved down a little bit because part of the handle, I have these other handles on, but part of the actual blade underneath this, there's a part that's thicker, which won't allow the scales of the Izula to easily go onto this. Now that'd be really, really nice because there's like micarta and probably some G10 scales available. But I just purchased these Zytail handles, which I believe were maybe $15 at the most for a pair of these black scales, and a high vis sort of bright orange came with it, but I prefer the black out of those. A paracord hank came with this, so you can do a paracord wrap, but personally I'm not a fan of those, so I opted to buy these scales. You can see a little bit thicker. And also down here, because I wish these were a little bit thicker in itself, so I put a little paracord lanyard down here for me to hold on to. You have a little bit more thickness to get a positive grip on the knife. But nonetheless, that is sort of the ins and outs of the specs. So as it came, it wasn't really that sharp. It was a utility sharp, but it wasn't shaving, not even shaving, just it wasn't a quality bevel, it wasn't an even bevel, and it wasn't that sharp. So what I did is put my own bevel on this using the Lansky system at first. Then I used a larger bench stone to make it a little bit nicer. And then I used a ceramic stone that was on my Easy Lap. I used that then to really get it sharp. Show you the paper right now. Show you cutting some paper. Just make this easy for myself. And this is wet, and the paper got wet. This paper isn't cutting. I had it sitting on the forest floor. It is, you can see it, but there's dampness to it, and I'm not really going to get a nice, you can see it's tearing right there. It's almost mushy. I apologize for that, but this is really sharp. Take my word for it. I'm not putting any pressure into it, just tearing. trying to get a curve to show you that it is pretty sharp. And you saw it sort of has a mirror finish to it almost. But nonetheless, I got it really, really sharp. I'm really happy with it as it is now. But I'm going to start doing some tasks with this, using it, and give you some more of my impressions of this knife. I'm going to baton a few pieces of wood. Because it is a fixed blade, it should be able to do it. This will do that. You know, this is sort of a small camp knife, sort of a backup knife. That's kind of why I got it. It was sort of an impulse buy because I wanted a small fixed blade. Just checking to see which piece of this birch has the least amount of knots I want to get caught in. I'll try this one. But nonetheless, this is a small backup knife for me. I do like folders, you know, but in all reality, having a fixed blade knife is way more dependable, useful, anything you want to word it. So to make small kindling on a fire, something like this, you know. Looking good. Pretty good. Utilize this lanyard and try to do a little bit of feathering. We'll see. This wood's a little wet. We're not having that much control, but either way, this lanyard definitely helps a lot with the control because it's such a small handle. You can see it's sitting in my hand. Not much to grab onto, not much thickness. This definitely improves the knife a lot by have a little bit more mass to hold on to. This isn't the best piece of wood that I'm trying to do this, doing these curls and feather sticking with. Tried giving myself a good spot to start with. Mosquito up the nose. Quite a challenge using this little knife to get a lot of control on this birch. Should have been more prudent. Try to find a better piece, but nonetheless, it is capable of doing that. You saw me fuss a little bit, but it was there. Make a spear point, wanted to make a stake around camp, setting up your tarp, hammock, tent, anything like that. You want a tarp or anything to guide down to the ground secure. More than comfortable enough in the hand to do this, and this is birch, pretty hard wood. And when I work on birch and I go at it like this, I'll know right away how uncomfortable a knife's going to be. That's why I do this. It's not just for fun and just, you know, whittling away at a piece of wood. I'm doing it to see how the knife feels in the hand by doing really powerful cuts where I'm grabbing grabbing the knife a lot, putting a lot of force around the knife with my hand, seeing how tired the hand gets. Yeah, and obviously I'm not going to try to use this knife to do a lot of work. It's a small knife, not meant for that, but nonetheless it can do that. I'm going to try to find another piece of wood. It's a little bit drier. You have a little bit better carving characteristics. Trying to give myself a nice place to start. Wants to flex on me. And like any new knife you use, and at least in my experience I've noticed, there's definitely sweet spots in the knife. It feels like how it wants to be used with the angles, the grip, sort of. It's like using a new tool all over again. And granted, it's a knife with a sharp edge, has a handle, but with the blade geometry, everything like that, it takes a little bit of time to sort of find, like I said, the sweet spots in a knife, how it wants to be used. And this wasn't doing the best. I wasn't doing the best feather sticking and curls with this, but nonetheless, you saw it perform. It can do it. I think some better wood and a little bit more practice with this small knife, I can do that, but. All right, you get a pretty good idea of the knife in action. So my final impressions of this knife are, I really like it. I really like the blade shape, the drop point, the full flat grind for this size, and this thickness of a knife. Not really missing a Scandi grind. This cuts really well. Has a nice slicer. The handle scales, I'm not a huge fan of Zytel, but they're better than a paracord wrap in my opinion. But the extra lanyard offers a lot more girth to grab onto. In all honesty, having a sharpened spine, I prefer pretty much on all of my knives now, or at least a section that's sharpened. It just increases the utility of the knife as opposed to having it rounded for comfort, which is still nice. If you're going to be carving and putting your thumb up here on either side, it's a comfort thing for your thumb, but maybe having a little section up here, this gives it, you know, that much more capability in my opinion, that many more tasks you can do with the knife. For the price, I wanted to try D2 steel. I haven't had any other knife in D2. And I wanted to try it out, and I wanted to see, you know, how it just compares to other steels I've used. And because I put a new edge on it, I had, you know, the ability to really go into it, actually dig into steel, take off steel, and see how it really worked. And honestly, I really didn't find it that much of a pain to put a new bevel on this and sharpen it with ceramic and my bench stone. So I know some people talk about the tool steels as opposed to a high carbon knife, high carbon steel, like 1095 for instance, a very popular steel. That tool steels are more of a pain to sharpen. They hold an edge longer and are stronger, but they're a pain to sharpen. You know, I really didn't feel like it was, you know, too cumbersome or time intensive to get this where I wanted. But with that being said, like for me personally, this is going to be like a little backup knife, maybe wear it around camp. I'm thinking about making a new sheath for it so I can hang it a little bit more comfortably. Not more comfortably, I just don't like the rattle on this at all. It annoys me every time I use it. But nonetheless, all around, I'm really happy with this knife. If you have this knife or any other small fixed blades you could recommend, please let me know, leave a comment. Remember, check out blackoutdoors.com. This is Krik signing out with Black Outdoors. Later, turtles.